We talk about 4 individuals was killed at the border, I believe, between Kosovo and Serbia. Let's check it out. Standoff between a gunman and Kosovo authorities in a monastery near the border with Serbia ended after 4 people were killed. Authorities in Pristina said after a police operation to regain control of the area. We put this territory under control. It was done after several consecutive battles. Xhelal Svecla, Kosovo's Minister of Internal Affairs, told reporters after the standoff was over. The announcement follows a chaotic day that began with a police patrol was ambushed near the village of Banjska earlier Sunday, leaving 1 Kosovo law enforcement officer dead and another wounded. The gunmen fled to a nearby monastery where they barricaded themselves and traded gunfire with Kosovo police for hours, with at least 3 assailants shot dead. The attack and subsequent fighting marked one of the gravest escalations in Kosovo in years, after months of mounting tensions and stolen talks between the country's government and Serbia. Earlier in the day, Kosovo's Prime Minister Armin Kurti said about 30 heavily armed gunmen were surrendered by the authorities in the complex and called for their surrender. Svecla said the police has made several arrests during the clearance operation and seized a lot of weapons and equipment. However, it remains unclear if all the gunmen has been apprehended during the trip. The Serbian Orthodox Church also confirmed that gunmen had stormed the monastery in Banjska, where pilgrims from the northern Serbian city of Novi Sad were staying. Pictures released by Kosovo authorities showing several heavily armed gunmen wearing uniforms barricading themselves in the monastery. Police later said in the statement that at least 3 attackers had been killed and 1 arrested during the firefight. Another 4 civilian suspects carrying radio equipment and weapons were also arrested. Kosovo police also confirmed that the giant and broken border crossing between Serbia and Kosovo has been closed after the incident. Kurti's comments of the press conference came hours after he called the ambush that killed 1 police officer and wounded another in an act of terrorism and blamed the Serbian government. Organized crimes with political, financial, and logistical support from officials in Belgrade is attacking our country, Kurti wrote on social media. The NATO-led K4 mission said its forces were present in the area and standing ready for response if required. According to Kosovo law, government authorities are not allowed to enter Orthodox properties, including churches and monasteries, without first receiving permission from the Serbian Orthodox Church. Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić later condemned the killing of the police officer, but remained firm in putting the blame on Kurti for persecuting Kosovo's ethnic Serbs. Kurti provokes all the times. I'm sorry that some of the Serbs fell these provocations. Kurti is the only culprit, the only person who wants conflict and war, Vučić told media. He denied that Belgrade has anything to do with the attack. Asking how come the Serb gunmen were photographed wearing combat uniforms, Vučić said anyone could buy such uniform in ordinary shops, and that the ones did not belong to the Serbian military or police officer, or police force in this case. Vučić also placed the best and hypocrisy on Kosovo. You can kill us all. Serbia will never recognize the independence of Kosovo, that monster creation that you made by bombing Serbia, Vučić said. The attack came more than a week after the talks between the leader of Serbia and Kosovo centered on improvising ties failing to make a breakthrough during EU-mediated negotiations in Brussels. The EU has been trying for years to resolve the long-running dispute between the Balkan neighborhoods of neighbors that has soured relations since the war more than 2 decades ago. Brussels believed they had broken the impasse in March by hammering out a plan to normalize ties, but since then there has been minimal progress. The U.S. Top diplomat Josep Borrell condemned Sunday's attack, calling the Argentine police hideous. The responsible perpetrator must face justice, Borrell wrote on social media. His office later called it a quarterly terrorist attack. Tension in northern Kosovo has been smoldering for months after the Pristina government decision to install ethnic Albanian mayors in 4 Serb-majority municipalities in May. The move triggered one of the worst vote unrest in years. Demonstrations followed as well as the arrest of the 3 Kosovo police officers by Serbia and a violent riot by Serbian protesters during which more than 30 NATO peacekeepers were injured. Kosovo remains overwhelmingly populated by ethnic Albanians, but in the northern stretch of the territory near the border with Serbia, ethnic Serbs are the majority in several municipalities. The tussles in the north is the latest in a long list of incidents to rock the area since Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008. That was nearly a decade after NATO forces helped push Serbian troops from the former province during a war that killed about 13,000 people. Belgrade, along with its key allies China and Russia, has refused to recognize Kosovo's independence, in effect preventing it from having seats at the United Nations. During the address at the United Nations General Assembly last week, Vučić accused the West of hypocrisy. He said its recognition of Kosovo's independence was based on the same jurisdiction or justification as Russia's war on Ukraine.